Money counter gon' count up 100. Cut the check and I cry like an onion. Only focus on women and money. Being broke made me sick to my stomach.
What's good, YouTube? It's Lock and Dez coming at y'all with another reaction video. As you can see by the title and thumbnail, we about to be reacting to the Symbiote Doesn't Change Spider-Man. Now this is a video by Cloudify, I'm pretty sure. Shout out to you for this video, my guy. Let's see, 4.1K in a day, videos doing numbers. So shout out to you. Finna see what you talking about, man. Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes. And I have heard before that the adaptations of the black suit actually differ from the comics. I think it started with the 90s animated show. They made the black suit like basically make him crazy, but that's not really what it did. So we're gonna see, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, leave a like. We reached over 100 subscribers. I greatly appreciate y'all, and make sure I keep reiterating, I appreciate all my new subscribers, new supporters. What else I want to say? Oh yeah, 500. When we reach 500, I'm doing a little giveaway. Might give away a little $20. You never know. Subscribe. I wouldn't want to miss out if I was you. At 1,000, wave check at 1,000. Wave check at 1K. But with that being said, I ain't gonna hold y'all up too much longer in the intro. Let's get straight to it.
The black goo, the ooze, the stuff that makes Spider-Man all edgy and cool, right? Wrong. Well, I mean, it used to be wrong. That characterization is wrong for two reasons. One being the fact that he doesn't need the symbiote to be edgy.
Spider-Man is a crash out naturally. See, I really wish we would get this more. Tom Holland Spider-Man, he don't do this. He's too nice, he's too sweet. He's too kind. Tom Holland Spider-Man is a good boy. I love Tom Spider-Man. I'm not on the Tom hate bandwagon like the rest of you. And I am a Raimi, Toby super fan. Trust me, I get it. Okay? I grew up with those movies. I was one when the first one came out. Okay? I understand. But I mess with Tom. Tom is cool. I feel like he's a great Spider-Man. He's just too nice. He's too perfect. You know what I mean? He's just too perfect. He ain't got no flaws. He has no character flaws. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look at this. He would never do this.
Cool. And two, the symbiote originally didn't have any negative effects on him. But if you're confused, don't worry. I'll be explaining the full evolution of the way the symbiote affects him or something. To do that, we have to start where all these things start from, the comic books. I know. Some people don't like to read, but that's why you have me. We all know the symbiote is an alien from outer space. So how did Spider-Man get it? Was it a meteor crash? Nope. Spider-Man was actually teleported onto a place known as Battle World at the end of the Amazing Spider-Man issue 251, not to be confused with The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, or The Amazing Spider-Man. He sees this weird building. He explains how it feels like something is forcing him to enter, and as soon as he does, poof, he's gone. The story picks up in Secret Wars. All you really need to know is that Spider-Man and a bunch of other heroes were teleported onto Battle World to, you guessed it, battle. And Spider-Man's costume gets all ripped up.
Hold on, let me see. Okay, so he's fighting whoever this is. I ain't gonna lie, Spidey beating on him, that's crazy.
Stuff. But wait, he somehow sees Thor walking out of a room with a brand new, fully repaired costume. And Hulk tells him that it was because of some device in that room. Spider-Man goes in and obviously finds the wrong thing, since there were loads of things in there and Hulk wasn't exactly the best tour guide. And that's how Spider-Man acquired the symbiote. Now we can return back to the Amazing Spider-Man series and pick up where we left off with...
Okay, so I think we're all under the assumption that Tom Spider-Man is getting the symbiote during Secret Wars. I think it's safe to say we're all under that impression. Does it happen like that? I could honestly that seems like a plausible way. That seems plausible. His suit's gonna get ripped up. He has a He has a regular suit now. It's a regular suit. No more nanotech, all that BS. All that's done. He probably just want to get his suit patched up a little bit. Probably want to get right. You know what I'm saying? He got to keep the drip right. And he just going to run into a symbiote. I don't know, man. I really got to see. I really want to see another black suit Spider-Man.
Spider-Man literally spawning in the exact same
especially
place he
after the
disappeared.
game.
And
Oh
this
my
police
God.
officer's all like, "Who are you?" And Spider-Man's all like, "I'm Spider-Man." Then the police says, "We all know how Spider-Man looks. You look nothing like him." Anyways, Spider-Man tests out the suit, seeing if he can
Because he black. Alright.
store things in it, which he can, and when he gets home, the costume once again demonstrates its unique abilities by acting on his thoughts without command and forming into clothes. While he's getting adjusted to being back home, he calls Aunt May. Then he makes another call.
Look how old he looks here, y'all. This is a grown Peter Parker. This ain't a little kid. Like, oh my God. Can we get a dope Peter, please? Please? Can Tom grow up? Please. for the love of God.
And he's all like, "This one's to my
We
lady."
get a
The
grown,
funny thing about this
experienced
is
Spider-Man.
that she doesn't pick up, so he
Please.
assumes she's ignoring him. Then as soon as he leaves to go get some food, she drops into his apartment and is looking for him, but he's obviously not there anymore. Then
Wow.
she literally jumps
Parker
from the
luck.
rooftop of the restaurant that he's walking into while actively looking for him. I guess you could say he was right under her nose. But he's so happy to be back home, he claims even the bums on the street look great to him. He tries to get some sleep, but isn't tired. He decides it'd be
crazy.
better to just go out for a late night swing. So of course, the symbiote immediately rushes over to him and forms his costume, which he still isn't used to. Anywho, he goes out and saves some guy from being mugged, but the guy got super freaked out after seeing him. Spider-Man quickly comes to the conclusion that it must be this new costume, making him look more menacing or whatever. Spidey did a bunch of things with this suit with no negative drawbacks, besides the fear factor, I guess. So why the heck did he get rid of it if it didn't negatively affect him? Because it made him sleepwalk, and that made him uncomfy. Okay, to elaborate, it used his body to stop crimes in his sleep.
And yeah, even though Spider-Man haunts this night, agilely springing from rooftop to rooftop, if we could peer beneath his mask, we would see that Peter Parker is oblivious to all. He sleeps.
I guess it was doing too much good. Okay, it was a little deeper than that. Peter took the suit over to the Fantastic Four, to the Baxter building, so that Reed could run tests on it. After running these tests, Reed came to the conclusion that the symbiote was alive. Obviously, this, Peter didn't like the idea of this thing being alive, so he immediately started to freak out. Reed suggested that he immediately remove it, and Peter tried to remove it, but he couldn't, and he claimed that the suit was actually tightening itself. And Reed tells us that the suit is actually trying to permanently craft itself or forge itself onto his body or something of the sort. But something else that I noticed that I found really cool is that for you that don't know or don't read comics because it's not really shown in anything else, Peter and the Fantastic Four are really tight. They're really close. And they consider him a part of the family. So it was really cool that they...
Too bad we'll never get that, huh, Sony? Huh, Avi, what is it, Avi Arad? What's the woman's name? Whoever runs Sony? We'll never get that, huh? That's pitiful, bro. Spider-Man will never be able to have, like... Man, it really hurts my soul, bro. It really hurts my soul, because I'm sure we all want to see Spider-Man with, like... all other heroes, see him interacting with mutants, him going like, bro, it's so much story to tell that we just might never get because Sony is just not giving them up, gang, bro. And you can't blame them. Who would just? There's no amount of money that I would take if I was Sony to give up the rights to Spider-Man films. It's nothing. I'm telling you, like. You have a guaranteed $1 billion forever. That's bread. You have, like, that's tough, bro. It's tough.
are the ones he went to with the suit. And also, you know, the removal process of the suit was pretty quick actually. Human Torch surrounded it in a flame circle, and then Reed used a sonic blaster, and boom. This is post editing me. Well, actually me as I'm editing. I do realize I said these things wrong, like they happen in the wrong order. What happened was Reed Richards used a sonic blaster and basically just immediately got rid of the symbiote, and then Human Torch surrounded it in a fire circle, or you know, a flame circle to trap it so that Reed could capture it. This is also where we're introduced to the bombastic Bagman. But now that I'm
that's pretty cool. Okay, look at that lore coming together. The first time I ever seen that suit, I'm pretty sure it was the first Marvel Spider-Man game on PS4. And they released it later in the game cycle. That was the first time I ever seen that. Okay, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
You know,
that's pretty cool.
It's cool to think about the fact that I'm pretty sure these are where the symbiote's weaknesses came from. Even when they're adapted in other media,
fire and
sonic or loud noises stem from this. Human Torch and Reed Richards, which I think is really cool. Now compare this to more recent media where it's depicted as this evil sludge, or sometimes even worse, as a hive mind. Nowadays, people take aggressive Spider-Man voice lines and slap them over some loud music and make the pitch of his voice lower while cycling through photos of symbiote Spider-Man. And I have to admit, while that originally wasn't the case, I'd be lying if I said that isn't how things are now, because the symbiote does negatively affect Peter now. And even though, again, originally it wasn't that way in the comics, and majority of the other media, it's that way. But why is it that way? Where did it start? Well, many believe this started in the 90s series, Spider-Man, the animated series. In season
hey bro, I know my Spider-Man. If there's things that I know in this world, it's Spider-Man, Dragon Ball Z.
In episode 8, the symbiote is discovered by John Jameson. Yes, Jameson as in J. Jonah Jameson's son. As everyone's watching and waiting for the astronauts to return, the symbiote starts to bond with John's partner. Everyone's freaking out or whatever. So of course, Spider-Man makes his way to the scene. Already, this is very different from its original origin, since it immediately shines the symbiote in a negative light, making it seem more hostile than anything. Rhino is sent by Kingpin to capture the Prometheum X. After saving everyone from the ship, Spidey notices that he got some sludge on his costume, but disregards it. Turns out, J. Jonah Jameson thought that Spider-Man was actually the one who stole the Prometheum X, and placed a $1 million bounty on his head. So Peter decides to lay low and get some sleep. But things don't go quite as planned. The symbiote from his costume makes its way over to him, and in his head the symbiote is literally fighting the red and blue suit over him. And these two giants fighting, while the embodiment of the symbiote and Peter's classic suit fighting in his sleep is...
Wait, so what is this from?
Something that actually did happen in the comics, issue 258. But then he wakes up and we get a very familiar scene. Another difference here is that he claims he overshot the distance he tried to swing, and that he could never swing like that before, which is basically telling us that the symbiote has also enhanced his physical capabilities, which wasn't really much of a thing either. It does, however, do a really cool job at displaying one of the abilities the symbiote actually did have, which was changing into different clothes.
Which is very
quickly,
tough.
after all of this, we're shown the changes of his personality. He's become more hostile, just like the symbiote was shown to be at the start of the episode, even shaking up Flash Thompson. And Felicia tells him that he's scaring her. He even shuts down Aunt May. Rhino is sent back out, so Spider-Man quickly goes after him, and Spider-Man is giving him a real stern talking to. Quite frankly, he's kicking his butt. Spider-Man attempts to interrogate Rhino, but he genuinely doesn't seem to know anything. Usually this is when an interaction like this would end. Rhino even states repeatedly that he gives up, but Spider-Man says he's done.
He was crashing out, boy.
Getting what he wants, and it seems to me like Spider-Man was about to kill
gameplay, by the way.
which is supported by him claiming he was about to do something he'd regret for the rest of his life only a few seconds later. He looks in the mirror and gets a flash of venom before the episode ends. So yeah, different from how it was in the books. Does that make it bad? Heck no. I think this added a really cool sense of identity for the series, and it was a unique change that I enjoyed. But what you'll start to notice is that most of, if not all of, the Spider-Man media after this takes more inspiration from this series than its original debut in the comics, especially Spider-Man 3, which basically one-to-one recreated this shot. He also got the symbiote while sleeping and having a nightmare, just like in the 90s series. And the symbiote made very obvious changes to his personality as well, just like in a 90s series. It enhanced his abilities, made him more violent.
So what would y'all say y'all prefer? Do y'all prefer him getting in on Battle World, and the only reasonings for him to even get rid of it is just, it's first it's alive, and then second it uses him while he's sleeping to fight crime? To me, that doesn't even sound that bad. I feel like for what it is, was he not getting rest? Like, because his body would still go to sleep and he'd still be tired when he woke up because the symbiote was doing that? Why didn't he just have a conversation? Why didn't he just ask, hey, can you not do that? Can you stop? It probably would have been like, okay. He just went immediately for, get it off of me. He could have just been like, can you stop? I don't, when I'm sleeping, I'm good. The city will be okay. You got Daredevil, you got Luke Cage, you got Iron Man, you got Moon Knight, you got superheroes galore. I can sleep a little bit. Or do y'all want him to become an edgelord super demon for a little bit and then realize, yeah, I gotta get this up off of me? What do y'all prefer? Y'all let me know.
Whole 9 yards, even attempting to kill Sandman. And if anything, Tobey's symbiote pushed him further than the one in the animated series, because he 100% believed he killed Sandman and intended to do it. Attacking MJ was the final straw to really get him to reevaluate the situation. And what I didn't mention is that the 90s series is also, from my knowledge, responsible for the using a giant bell to get rid of the symbiote trope, which, you guessed it, was recreated in this movie. It's kind of like adaptations adapting adaptations, more so than the source material. The game is an entirely different story. Spider-Man 2 handled the symbiote poorly, in my opinion. We've established that not even well-loved and respected Spider-Man adaptations are always one-to-one with the source material, because they usually have a cool and unique take on whatever they're adapting. But unfortunately, the Insomniac game just dulled the symbiote down to a hive mind. The problem with this is that it just makes the symbiote an evil thing. With the previous adaptations we talked about, Peter had those anger issues and character flaws that were very apparent even before gaining the symbiote. All the symbiote did was constantly bring these emotions to the forefront, whether it was his confidence or his anger. Venom called himself Venom because he believes himself to be poison to Spider-Man. Why did Venom want that? Because the host, Eddie Brock, had a personal hatred towards Spider-Man, and the symbiote did.
I never thought about that. Venom because he's poison to Spider-Man. That's tough.
As well, since it had just been rejected by him as a host. So their combined anger is what creates Venom. But if you just give anyone a symbiote and call them Venom, the name loses its meaning and the host doesn't matter. But that's just my opinion. Let me know if you feel any differently down below. So with arguably the biggest Spider-Man animated show, the first Spider-Man movie in all of the...
But is that really like... So he said he doesn't like Insomniac's version because it just made the symbiote a hive mind, and it brings out what was already there. Just I don't know, because if you think about it, this was actually the perfect time for this Spider-Man to get the symbiote. Because he just lost May. He just dealt with his idol becoming evil. he played a part in that. He basically created the arms for Otto to use, and Otto ended up unleashing Devil's Breath, and that ended up killing May. So he probably felt very deeply responsible for May dying in the first place. Plus all the people that probably got injured, died, things like that. He was definitely still grieving. That was a big part of this game. He was still grieving. He probably doesn't want to be Spider-Man that much. Probably wasn't feeling capable in himself. That's why he probably was nerfed. I definitely feel like he was nerfed in this game. You compare it to the things he was doing by himself with no Miles in the first game to him having Miles. In this game, you definitely can see they made him like less impressive. They made him very much less impressive. So, but I feel like it was all because of the mental problems he was going through, and I feel like the symbiote suit kind of relieved him of it for a little bit. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. I haven't played the game in a while. I haven't replayed it in a while. But from what I remember, I feel like it kind of makes sense.
The Spider-Man games portraying the symbiote in this way, it quickly became the new norm. So don't feel bad if you didn't know its origins. Not all of us were alive in the 80s or 90s. I know I wasn't, so I understand why you may not have known. Not everyone cares enough or has the time to go back and read comics when you have more entertaining forms of media that sometimes outperform the comics. So yeah, that was pretty much why I wanted to make this video, was just to give a little bit of info in a fun way for the people that didn't want to read anything. Just give what I remember to be his origin in a fun way, you know? So I hope you enjoyed.
Yap time. Let's see what he's talking about.
And when I don't make Invincible content, they don't.
Alright. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a like on the video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed my reaction. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. We on the road to 500 subscribers, man. I love y'all. Thank every single one of y'all that support me. It's Lock and Dez. Make sure you go to the gym every day. Drink a gallon of water a day. I'm out, bruh. Y'all take care.